Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Parenthood. I am so glad you're here, truly. This little corner of the world that we are building together, week by week, message by message, story by story. It's starting to feel like a warm living room where parents can finally take a breath. The kind of breath you don't even realize you've been holding until someone asks you to sit down and talk honestly about your life. That's really what parenthood is for. Not the polished how it should be, but the intimate how it really is. The complicated, the mundane, the beautiful, the strange, the unexpected, all of it. And today is one of those conversations I know will stay with me long after we finish recording. My guest is someone whose work makes you feel like you've cracked open an old drawer of memories. Someone who takes nostalgia and tenderness and whimsy and paints them onto forgotten vintage papers, turning them into living, breathing worlds. Bakula Nayak is an artist, a storyteller of moods and moments, and someone whose creative universe feels like stepping into a dream. But that's only one part of who she is. For the last 20 years, she has been, as she herself puts it, obsessed with her children, Veer and Vikrant. She gave up her career to be with them because she simply couldn't imagine being separated from them. Her life rearranged itself completely, lovingly, willingly, and she has lived a full 2 decades inside that role of motherhood with a depth many of us will recognize instinctively. And now her sons are grown, one already out in the world, the other almost ready to fly, and Bakula stands at the threshold of a new chapter. A chapter where the house is quieter, the morning slower, and her identity is stretching and shifting again. Her story carries so much tenderness, loss, partnership, humor, and grace. It's an honor to have her here. Bakula, welcome. I am so glad you're here, and I've wanted this conversation for a very long time.
Oh, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And yes, it's very rarely that I actually talk about, I paint a lot about motherhood, I do, but I haven't had a chance to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like you said, I truly am obsessed. I don't know, it's just one of those things. When I met my husband, actually, before I met him, I always thought I wanted 5 kids, I wanted a large family. Yes, it was insane. I was obsessed with kids when I was like maybe 15, 16. I would buy baby clothes for nobody. Like I would just buy baby clothes. Yes. And I would, like, I just had them. I don't know why. It was just like, one of those things. And my parents didn't think it was odd. Now that I think about it, my parents should have stopped me. They didn't.
Imagine Veer and Vikrant going out and just buying baby clothes.
Right now, yeah, it's really weird. But also, my parents didn't have much of a goal for me besides getting married. So I think they, like 16, 15 would have been so young to be buying baby clothes, but I did. And when I met my husband, though, I completely changed. Like, I just loved my life with him. Like, he is just the most wonderful person ever. And I just happened to meet him by chance. And then I didn't want my life to change. I was like, oh, I don't want any kids. Like, I just don't want kids. Like, I love my life how it is. I don't want to change it. And he was like, but you said 5 kids when you met me. Like, you can't change that now. And I was like, of course I can. But then, I was like, okay, if we are going, like, I did realize it meant so much to him. And it wasn't like, I was just being selfish when I was like, I don't want to change my life.
Yeah.
But it's like I had Veer and that was it.
Hmm.
Life as I knew it was over. Like who I was over. Even when I was pregnant, actually, I signed up for a daycare. Like if I live in the
Yeah.
US, and obviously, like, good daycares are very hard to come by. And that one was really good. And people always told me that you needed to book it way in advance to, find your spot. So I booked it when I was like a couple of months pregnant. And I took 3 months off of work. And then I told them I couldn't come back. I need 3 more months. They waited. And so it was like 6 months. I took him to that daycare and I don't know why I decided to peep through the window. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. I looked through the window. He was actually asking the person at the daycare to pick him up. Like he was like raising his arms and he was like, pick me up, pick me up. And she was ignoring him on purpose. Like, I mean, she
Yeah.
has 15 kids in that class. And she, like, it was just weird. Like, I waited a whole almost till he was a year to send him. And then I didn't want to do it. I was like, oh my God, like he's asking for attention. She's not giving it. How can I do this to my child? And I went back in and I got him back out. And that was it. That was the only day he went to daycare, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, but thankfully, my husband has been very supportive, and it's also a privilege to be really spending your time with your kids. And he was willing to shoulder the financial responsibility,
Yeah.
which, living in New York, I was living in New York at the time. It was expensive, and, we have a baby now, but he was truly supportive of anything I wanted to do. If I wanted to go to work was fine. If I wanted to stay at home was fine.
Yeah.
So then I decided to stay home. And in my head, I was always going to go back to work because I used to
Yeah.
be a brand strategist and a designer. And I
Mhm.
loved my job. I used to work for L'Oreal and Mikasa. And like, it was like, I really truly loved my job. But yeah, I think I loved Veer more. Yeah. So I never went back, and that was that.
And talking about Veer, tell us about Veer and Vikrant, who they are, what makes them laugh, how they move through the world.
Like sometimes I wonder, right? Like people say, "Oh, you've raised such good boys," and sometimes I wonder, what was my contribution? I don't know. They were just good kids.
Hmm.
Like maybe you don't remember because now it's 20 years. Like obviously you've put in every minute of your day into it, and they are really, I mean, like I find it even weird to say it, but they're such fine young men.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and I just feel like they bring so much joy to my life and also to the world around them. And I like that. Like, they do pick up. And I think a large part of it is also how you live your life, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they pick it up just from around you. Like last Christmas, I was telling Veer, like he was buying presents for his friends, his family. Then he ended up buying one for the janitor in his dorm. He
Oh.
said, yeah, he said every Christmas, like every morning when he's getting ready, they cross paths. The
Hmm.
janitor comes to clean and he's leaving the bathroom. So he was like, I'd like to buy one for him too. And that's exactly what I do my whole life. Like, it's everybody in my life, not just friends and family.
Yeah.
So, like, I was so glad that he said something like that. Like, to me, those small things really matter. Like,
Yeah.
I feel that's how I've like, raised them. And I mean, obviously, they'll be embarrassed if they hear this. They don't want to be known as, they want to be
Fine,
the cool,
fine
cool
young
boys.
man.
Yeah. And Vikrant too, like, he's a lot more emotional. He's a lot more like me. Veer is very practical. Like, if something needs to be done, it needs to be done. Like him leaving to college was so hard on me
Mm.
because you're used to just having these children at home. You are the center of their universe. Like, I can't sleep without my mother. I can't eat without my mother. When they're younger, like they're just looking for you every second. And I'm used to that.
Mm.
And I mean, different mothers, like I have friends who are glad their children went to college. So now they can have their life and they can go back to what they had put on pause,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But somehow for me, I think I haven't gotten there yet. But although I see it coming, like,
Yeah.
I am now I can go to that residency for 2 months that I've been wanting to go.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I want to go do a course. I want to learn something. Like, go off for 3 weeks is not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I can see that coming, but the grieving of
Yeah.
just, not being the center of your child's universe is hard, is
Yeah.
hard. And I see a lot of other mothers go through that too. Um, and the night before he left to college, actually, I felt like my world ended because I just couldn't fathom letting this child out into this world. Like you're not sure, right? Like what's out
Yeah.
there, whether they are capable of, dealing with it. But now but it was only the night before, I dropped him off at college and I met his roommate. I saw his dorms, his college. He was so excited to start this new life.
Yeah.
My happiness for him then was more than the sadness I was feeling for myself.
Yeah.
Like, he's no
Yeah.
longer at home. But even now, when he comes back for the holidays, that's when my family feels complete to me.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
four of us under one roof. But also in the US, like, that's why I'm like, sometimes I'm like, India is so much better because you can just live in your house till you're 50, 60. It doesn't
yeah.
matter. With your parents, nobody ever thinks anything of it. And all opportunities are around you, right? Like whether
Yeah.
going to school or like, but here it's a moment. Like
Mm.
when they leave for college, it's like a definitive moment in your life. Like
Yeah.
that is the last of them actually living in your house for
Yeah.
ever, right? Now because holidays are taken up by internships, they're taken up by your friends, they're taken up by vacations that they want to go out with their friends. And so your time with them is so little, like
Yeah.
it has become so much more precious to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about Vikrant?
Vikrant is in high school now, so we are go. That's the other thing, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, even at home, they don't really need you. And I have been sick for the last 8 or 10 years, like really sick.
Yeah.
And it sort of started after childbirth, and it has never, I've not gone back to my 100%. Like now I have about 50, 60%. So I don't really leave my house much. I don't have a lot of energy. like have fatigue and like just inflammation through the roof. So it's a lot of physical, like I can't do a lot of physical things. But both boys have learned to cook. Veer was cooking by the time he was 11, 12,
Wow.
and yeah, and Vikrant too. And both of them, like, on my days when I'm really upset and I'm really tired, really sick, and I'm gluten free, so they'll be like, can I make you something? And they actually make gluten free desserts for me, or like, cakes for me, and in a jiffy.
Yeah.
And when they come, afternoon is my worst time. Like I really cannot even pick myself off the bed. And I'm usually laying on the couch because I want to see them when they come back home. And I get up, like, to get them something to eat, but they refuse. They're like, no, you just lie down. So they've just become so independent, not out of me training or asking or anything. And I really appreciate that. And a lot of it must also come from their dad because
Yeah.
he just takes such good care of me. And I mean, he takes up more than half the housework and, obviously going out to work because I still don't. And being an artist is something I chose. Yeah, when we had, like in between, when the kids were older, I had started my own company.
Yeah.
So I was doing well till I fell sick.
Yeah.
And then I had to give that up again. And that's when I became an artist. And so, but my husband, like, he does a lot of things around the house. And I feel like the boys have seen that and they've picked that up.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that, that they take care of. Vikrant barely needs me for anything. Like, and that is, I mean, it is painful. I have to tell you, it is painful. Like, I wish they would ask, right? Can you do this for me or that for me? No, there's literally nothing. In fact, they do a lot more for me now.
Yeah.
And that is the new phase, I guess. They are becoming adults, and I tell myself now that maybe this was my job,
Yeah.
to um, raise them and make them equipped to live independent lives.
Yeah.
Like that was my job. My job is over. Like I would love to hang on to every remnant, but I feel like this is a new phase and I have to figure out how I'm going to work through it.
Yeah.
Because my husband, I mean, a large part of his day is occupied by his job.
Yeah.
And when you're an artist or you're freelancing or like, I worked my life around the kids.
Yeah.
So there is that hole now. And to fill it back, I don't know. And being an older woman, trying to like find your way now, make a career, like I don't want to say it's impossible. It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
but it's certainly difficult. And you're you're so far removed, like you're 20 years removed from everything the world was doing while you were not in it.
Yeah.
And so back and figure out your place in it. Some days I'm like, maybe I should just chill because I've
Yeah.
like I just not do anything at all. Then I'm like, I don't know if my brain will accept that because I'm constantly wanting to do something, think something, learn something. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a new. So I don't know. I have to think about it. And he has to another 3 years about in school. So,
Hmm.
you know, and so I don't know at what point I'm going to figure it out for myself. But,
But
and
haven't you already figured it out for yourself by pursuing your art and like just having shows all around? Maybe you can double down on that and produce
yes,
much more art.
probably. Yeah, I do. But and that's the thing, right? Like I paint when I feel like painting,
Yeah.
or like I hear that artists do paint 9 to 5, like
Yeah.
a yeah, and that's when you really make it. But I've been more like I feel the mood to paint, or like I need to be in that state of mind when I paint. So I do take breaks. Like I just finished a show, so it took me about 2, 3 months to prepare. It was a very small show, actually. I had just 20 works, but 20. And for that, it took me about 3, 4 months. And then now that I'm done, I'm taking the break over Christmas and, Thanksgiving now. So the family comes. And I think that's going to be my thing, though. Like
Yeah.
they always come first, and I will work my work around it no matter what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is insane because I really want to be like this. I always thought I was going to climb the corporate ladder. I was going to be like that was the intensity with which I wanted a career
Mm.
because I grew up very, very traditional. My
Yeah.
parents were trying to get me married when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I fought that. I fought that for a very long time. And, I wanted to make something of myself, my career. And I'm like, wow, I started that whole journey and derailed it myself.
But you
Like,
also started that journey of wanting 5 kids, and look
yes,
where
I
you
did.
have come.
No, I'm just saying, like, that thought was there that,
Yeah.
I really, and when I say successful, I'll put it in quotes because
Yeah.
it's, also the world at large. I think that makes a difference, honestly.
Yeah.
Productivity, success, the measures of the world are totally different.
Yeah.
Like, that's what sometimes makes me pause. But
Yeah.
like given like the other day I was just thinking how privileged am I that I lived exactly like I wanted to live, like
Yeah.
every moment. Like although I'm thinking now that, oh, I should have had a career, and it does take a village to raise children,
Yeah.
and you lose that village when you live here,
Mm-hmm.
unless like when my mom passed away really early, like
Yeah.
so I didn't have anybody who would come here. Like a lot of people have their parents come stay with them,
Yeah.
then they continue to work. And I didn't have that village.
Yeah.
And it's harder to make your village here,
Hmm.
especially when you're moving around for a job all the time. Like, we were never really in one place. So if you have that, I feel like you can still keep it going.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. I feel like I did it in chunks, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't ever like that wasn't my focus, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else came around it. I
Yeah.
remember thinking, I had this discussion with my husband because we both were working, we were living in New York. It was a very, very hectic life. And I remember asking him, how are we going to make time for a baby? Like our lives are so full, our lives are so busy. Like, where is
Yeah.
the time? And then you have this baby, and there's nothing else in your life.
And
There is this
and
baby.
and you think, what was I busy with?
Yes, exactly. I remember thinking that too. That what was I busy doing? Like, I don't know, because I right now I'm doing nothing else, especially when they're younger. Yeah. So, I mean, I think if someone is a little more determined,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I wasn't raised that way. So that might have played a part.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends whose parents have been very insistent on them being independent.
Hmm.
then at some point it's always like, okay, I am going to go back and I will go back, even if they take that break.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know, that was never important. That was never like growing up. It was only, it was my desire. And I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes as mothers, you also put your desires away, right? Like you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I mean, it just seems like the most natural thing, which it shouldn't be, but that's what, I don't know. I was raised too traditionally and too conservatively that I think it was just in my head that this is okay. And it is truly okay because I think about it. I'm like, would I have done anything differently? No, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So, like, then there's no point in really thinking.
Yeah.
And yet, I did make the most of what I could. Like, I finally turned to art when I was sick.
Hmm.
Literally, I couldn't function. Like, I couldn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
I was bedridden for 6 months.
Yeah.
So really, and so I just feel like I have done what I could given the circumstances that you are in. And I think that's so important to remember.
Yeah.
That sometimes I do look at other people and I have to remind myself I did the best in my circumstance.
Hmm.
It was financial, emotional, whatever. But like you have done the best you could have done. Somebody
Yeah.
else's circumstance is something else.
Yeah.
And they're doing the best for themselves, their family, their kids.
Yeah.
So I try to remember that when I think that I should have done this or that. I'm like,
Mm.
no, you did the best you could. And
Yeah.
I'm proud, really. Like, yeah, I think if they didn't turn out the way they did, I don't know. But right now, I just feel like, okay, at least those 20 years were really worth it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
20 years. When you say it like that, it just sounds like, oh my God, so much time has
Yeah.
passed.
Yes.
I
And
want to, know about your early days, like when you first became a mother. What were those first few days and weeks like for you, physically, emotionally, imaginatively?
you know, I decided to go back to India to have the kids, and
Hmm.
everybody was horrified because most people, like, I don't know, if you're in the US, you have the kids here because I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, for the passport. I don't know. I was just like, my husband was upset. He was like, no, he can't be president. I was like, I'll take vice president. Right? Like, if he has to be the president of the United States, that's the only thing he can't be by not being born here. I was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't because even if you need a jug of milk, I would have to get into the car, go get it with the baby in tow.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do all those things. And I really felt I needed the support of my family.
Yeah.
So then I went back to my father's place, and that's where I had Veer. And by the time Vikrant was born, I was so lucky. Like I was 9 months pregnant. I was on vacation in India, and my husband's job sent him on an expat assignment to India.
Oh, wow.
So I was already there, and I didn't even come
Wow.
back to move. I was just like, you can bring the stuff. I'm just staying here. So I didn't even bother to pack, to move, nothing. I just stayed there. So that, in that sense, I was so lucky that I could go back to India to have the kids and to have the support of my friends and family, and to also have, um, just extra help.
Yeah.
That is much easier. Like, my nanny, she'd lived in our house 20 years, 30 years at
Wow.
that. So,
Wow.
she was there, my dad was there, my mother-in-law was there. So there was enough people around.
Yeah.
But what I realized is when you have a baby, end of the day, that baby is yours.
Yours.
You are the only one staying up all night. And that was the part I was mind blown that nobody thinks of how awful it is for the mother. The
Yes.
2 weeks. I mean, you have never not slept for 2 weeks. Have you? Like, I mean, you're doing a project last 2 days, 4 days, but you're catching sleep in the day, in the
Yeah.
somewhere. But
Yeah.
this is like 2 weeks of no sleep, and it completely disorients you. And that was scary for me. Like, that nobody was getting it. Like,
Yeah.
they were still expecting me to function in the morning. Not that I
Yeah.
was doing a lot,
Yeah,
but
but
just functioning. I couldn't even basic function. But then again, my husband was there because, there was like my father, my mother-in-law, they were like, oh, you should get up at this time, you should bathe the child by now, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, I haven't slept in 10 days. Like, I'm not thinking of a bath. Like, I don't know. They have like a system when the
yeah,
baby is
yeah,
born.
yeah,
But thankfully, again, like, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I don't know. You don't want to offend anybody. Everybody's there to help you. But my husband was like, that's her body and her, like, whatever she wants to do is fine. Let her just do it. Like, it's so helpful to have one
yeah,
other person. I mean, if it's your husband, it's the greatest, I think.
yeah,
But regardless, like, I wish most people would understand that this mother needs support. Doesn't matter that she sounds crazy, she sounds like she wants to do something that doesn't, unless you're not, like, I'm not talking about, like, you're not harming anybody or you're not,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, as long as everybody is safe. Like, this wasn't like, you need that support. Someone to say, let her do what she wants. If she doesn't want to bathe for 10 days, then let her not. Like,
yeah.
And the other thing I found the most was like when I would start breastfeeding, like it would get so boring. My son would just feed for like 2 hours at a time. It was just so slow. And then you're just laying there, not knowing what to do. I mean, today I think you still have phones and
Yeah.
apps, but this was not the time of having Instagram. Like, I'm sure if I was having Instagram now, I'd be scrolling on it when I was feeding. I don't know.
I
But
did.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was so boring for me. Like, I was just like, I just lay here for 2 hours. And like, my aunt, my mom, like anybody would just start leaving the room the minute you
Yeah.
start feeding. And I'm like, I would enjoy some company, some conversation. Yeah. So, I mean, the early days were fun though. Like, I mean, in the sense that when we did, like, I did come back to the US
Yeah.
when Veer was about 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was all me. There was nobody, right?
Yeah.
Like, I had all that help in the first 2, 3 months, and then it was just me and my husband. But he was totally hands-on, and I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot. That's the part I appreciated the most. Like, he would massage the baby, he would give a bath. Like, we needed two of us, but
Yeah.
he was always there. Like, he always took over the evenings and the weekends.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, always. And I remember thinking at some point that we both are like very considerate roommates.
Hmm.
Like, there was no, like, he wasn't my husband. I wasn't like his partner. I'm like, we are just existing together because everything is about this little thing.
You know what? This happens, I think, for the first few years of the
Yeah.
like we are still in that roommate phase. We
Yeah.
talk sometimes like friends. We are best friends who are living together. Yeah.
Yes, that's how I used to feel. Like, that's how I used to feel. But I see some of it back now. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, the kids are,
Obviously, it's been 20 years.
yeah,
If
20
you
years.
told me if it wasn't back yet,
No,
I
I
would
am one
start
of,
thinking,
when it's our anniversary, for instance, my kids, both of them, love food. So when we go, I'm like, oh, we should all go. And then now they are like, it's your anniversary. Please go. Like, we are not coming to this,
yeah,
So, yeah, it does change. I mean, you get back, but it
yeah,
takes getting used to because
yeah.
sometimes I'm like, I would ask Kaustubh, that's my husband, I would tell him, once the kids are gone, I don't know what to do with you. Like, because it's like we haven't spent that much time, right?
Yeah,
But now we started having conversations, we go to shows together, and I'm also not a planner.
yeah.
And I live in Pittsburgh now, where a lot of Indian shows don't happen, but when they
Mhm.
do happen, he's always on top of it. He books the tickets because he knows I like it. He like then we do stuff to like he'll be like, "Do you want to go to this dance show in February?" And I'm like, "It's November."
February?
No, that's how it is. Like, here, like you buy the ticket when the show comes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in February. But February rolls around really quick. and he's
Yeah.
already bought the tickets.
Oh.
Because I cannot make up my mind. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing in 5 months, but he's a planner. So, we do have our things now. Like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and going on vacations. Like, sometimes we go on trips by ourselves.
Yeah.
But things I miss, like, like those are coming back. Like, we would love driving late at night,
Mm.
just nowhere. We would just drive and then we would stop at random restaurants, get a hot chocolate. Like, I love all that. And yeah, and now we can do it again. Now they are dying. The kids are dying. Like, when are you leaving us and going? Like, they want the house to themselves. Yeah.
You know
But and
what I
also
love?
as they grew up, like, they then you start going to school. They, and we did spend a large part of our lives in Bangalore
Mm-hmm.
because when Vikrant was born, my husband came on that expat assignment.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be there for 3 years, but I pushed it to 9
Wow.
because I had always wanted to raise my kids in India because I thought it would give them like a good sense, right? Like connections to your family, which otherwise you come once a year. I didn't think that would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lived there the 9 years, they went to school, they have their friends now. They're so much closer to their cousins. So and like I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know
So
what I find the most beautiful is how you talk about Costa with this quiet reverence and humor. It feels deeply, deeply lived in, the kind of relationship you have. How did you meet, fell in love, build this home together?
it
Take
was
us.
so random. I just lucked out. It was so random. I lucked out. I was telling you, I was fighting my parents not to get married. So I was 25 and then I decided to come here to do my master's. And the only reason my parents allowed it was because socially it was less embarrassing for them. Because in my family, by 25, you're an old maid.
Yeah.
Like all my cousins were married before they were 20. So it was like me unmarried at 25 was just too much for them to take socially.
Yeah.
So it was now easier to tell everybody, oh, she's gone to the US to study, right? Then
Yeah.
yeah, that's not. So that's how I ended up coming here. But once I came here, it was really hard for me because I didn't know to use the computer. I was living down south in Savannah, Georgia, where the accents are very different. So I was having a hard time at school. And one of my friends, she said, let me show you how to use the internet. Maybe it'll make life easy for you. And
Mm.
so this was 25 years ago. So we went to the lab at 2 a.m. and she was showing me how to use the internet. And I was just stunned. Like I would type different things and, so much would come up. And I'd be like, who is writing about my village? Why are they writing about my village? Like, who is this? Like, there is like 5 pages of notes about my tiny village, which is like a one straight village. Like, it's called Hebri, and it's like a really tiny village in the Western Ghats. So I was just stunned, right? And then typed the language I speak, which is Konkani. And even in India, not a whole lot of people speak Konkani. So
Yeah.
I just typed it, and his and those days I think these dating websites were just open because
Mm.
not many people were online. So his profile popped up. He was on a dating site and he had languages spoken written as Konkani,
Ah.
and that's why it popped up for me. And these were all open pages, like how
Yeah.
Orkut and Facebook and all those things they were just open for anybody to read. And I read it and then I looked at it. He was 29. I looked at my roommate and said, if some Indian boy is trolling like this for random girls, I said, he's a loser. I said, nobody wants to marry him. Like, no Indian uncle or auntie set him up that he's just looking for. I was so mean. And I said, that is, and she didn't believe me because she was Swiss. She was like, oh, that can't be true. I'm like, it is true. And then she says, let's make a fake ID and write to this guy. So we made a fake ID and wrote to this guy, and this guy is now my husband. Yeah. So that was how we met. But, I really, really lucked out. he has been the most amazing thing in my life.
Mm.
And I think I'm more in love with him today than I was when I met him.
Oh, that's such a
Yeah,
nice thing to say. That's
yeah.
such
And
a
we are
striking thing
so
to say.
different. We are entirely different. Like, we don't have anything in common besides the kids. Really. Like, we don't. Like, we don't share any interests. But it works. It somehow works. Yeah. And, that's what you need, a true partner in your life.
Yeah.
Especially if you're building a family and, like, you are a unit. Like, now that's what we look back on and that's what we share, right? This is a life we built together. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so beautiful. Like, we
Yeah.
look back and we are like happy we got here. And, like, 20, this year is my 25th anniversary, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of things just clicked, just knowing that it was 25 years and, we've come this far. And I won't say it wasn't hard because the first couple of years was hard, very hard, because he's so different from me.
Mm.
Like, our first anniversary, I said we should both change one thing without question. Like, you won't tell me why should I do it, but I will tell you, you need to change this about yourself, because it was just so difficult. And I was like, you can do the same. You tell me what I want, you need me to change for you. And so, that was our first anniversary thing. So obviously, my one thing became five. And the poor thing, he agrees to everything. He says, yeah, I'm like, you need to be more patient. You need to be. And he already was, but I needed more. So he agrees to everything. Then it's my turn. And I'm like, what is he going to ask for? Because I don't want to change anything about myself. And but I've offered this now, so I'm like waiting with bated breath that he's going to tell me something I need to change, because I used to be very short tempered, like very, like I'm very passionate in general. So
Yeah.
it's like, all my feelings are extreme. So I was thinking he's going to tell me something, and he goes, that jacket you put on the couch when you come in, can you just put it in the closet? I was like, if there is one thing about me you want to change, that's what you want? And he goes, yes, that's what I want. And to this day, he has never wanted me to change anything about myself. Nothing. But isn't it beautiful like that? Like, when you are a happy person, I feel like you are a happy mother, then you're a happy, like, you raise happy children.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I am happy because of him. Like, I grew up so restricted. Like,
Mm.
everything, there were rules. Like, and sometimes my parents didn't even care,
Mm.
but the rules were because of neighbors or relatives, or like, it was just so crazy the way, I mean, I don't think it's crazy. Like, I mean, most of us in India, I think that's what happens, right? Parents are more worried about what someone else is going to say or do, or yeah. So having this complete freedom to be who you are
Yeah.
and who you want to be, and to
Sometimes you don't
imagine.
even believe that that's true, right? Like, oh my God, I can choose to not take a bath in the morning.
Yeah,
Like, that's allowed.
it truly is. It truly is. So I feel like I have been a much happier person than I used to be. And also responsibilities. And also, for a long time, I thought my marriage is boring. I'd be like, this is so boring. And then I realized it wasn't boring, it was peaceful.
Yeah.
I am just so much used to fighting and loud noises and arguments that, it had never occurred to me that this peace I have in my house, not boredom.
Yeah.
And that took a few years to
How
get.
did you come to that realization?
I don't know. One day I was just like, this is so boring, this is so boring. And then I'm like, whose life is interesting? And then I'm
Mm.
trying to think back and I'm like, what was interesting about my life? Then I realized it wasn't interesting, it was just loud. And I'm used to that kind of chaos in my life. Like, and fighting for everything I wanted, or like arguing. And my parents, I mean, we had a very loving home, but it was like loud. And my parents just argued all the time. or they were yelling at me all the time. So, I wanted a house that wasn't like I didn't want to raise my kids yelling at them. So I still see part of that come up sometimes. Like I will say something loudly or and then but you and also I think you feed off of the other person's energy, right? My husband's not the type to yell or scream or like he always believes in talking. Like I have to tell you this, like when I said talking, once Veer was really little, he came back from school, I don't even remember what it was, and he tells me, and then or I found out, I don't know what. And then I was really upset. And I said, oh my God, I said, this is too much. I said, I cannot deal with this thing. Let daddy come home. I'm going to let him deal with this because this is too much. Whatever that thing was that happened. He looks at me and he says, can you just beat me and finish it? He's like, I don't want daddy to do it. And then I was like, why are you saying that? I was like, I said, he explained so nicely. He's like, yes. And then he keeps on explaining. He's like, with you, I could be done in 3 seconds. Just whack me. Just be done with this. It was so cute. But even today, like, but I never did. And I don't know. It's been okay. I realized that you don't necessarily have to do those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I also worry less. Like, I
mm,
do worry less, like constantly of what they will do, who they'll become. Like for me, I need them to be good human beings, I think.
that they are.
Yeah. And I would always tell them when they were younger, the three H's. I
Hmm.
would say, and I would make them repeat it. I was like, what are the three H's? And then they have to say it in order. And the order was they needed to be honest, happy, and hardworking.
Uh-huh.
So I say, whatever they do in life to make sure that it's first honest, does it make them happy? And you definitely have to be hardworking. So
Wow.
I don't know if they remember it anymore, but I'd make them repeat it till they were about 10, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Talk to me about, your different parenting styles. You and Kotto both have very different parenting styles, you said.
we do. We
Yeah.
do.
Talk,
But
talk.
that's the thing. Because I spent so much of the time with the kids,
Mm-hmm.
he always took my lead.
Wow.
Because we were so different, right?
Yeah.
Like, but our basic values are the same. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that helps. Like, your basic values are the same. And he honestly trusts me to do the right things for the kids.
Yeah.
So anything is usually me taking the lead with the kids. But when he gets strict, he is a man of his word. Like if he has told the kids, if you don't do this, you're not getting why, they don't get the why. And he has no mercy. He doesn't feel bad. I'm the total opposite. I will be like, you won't get why. And then I'll feel sorry that I'm not giving it to them and doesn't matter. Like, I have no rules. Like, I have barely said no, I think, in my life, ever to the kids. Like, it's just hard for me. Children are so cute. Like,
Yeah.
I look at other people's babies now and I'm like, how are you parenting? Because this is like hard. Like they are just so cute. And then I'm like, I cannot say no. So I'm glad I have Kaustubh because the bigger things, like, but they have never been outrageous, but he is the disciplining person. Like I just reiterate the rules, which you may or may not follow. I'm okay with it. In fact, when we moved here, Vikrant would wake up. Vikrant doesn't like school. It's
Mm-hmm.
been 10 years. He's in 10th grade. Every day he's telling me he doesn't want to go to school. I'm like, maybe you should give up after 10 years, but he hasn't. So when we first moved here, like in India, I still did the school things because it was actual physical things. They would bring back a diary with the homework in it, or, there would be
Yeah.
notes. I could call the teacher. Here, the system is a little more different. Everything's online and I'm so low tech, like I don't even care for all these things. So
Yeah.
when we moved here, and it's very cold here,
Mm.
so he'd wake up in the morning and he'd be like, I don't feel like going to school. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't feel like waking up either. Let's go to bed. So I'd just go to sleep, and he had missed like some 5 or 6 days of school. He wouldn't be doing his homework. Kostav would look at it online. He'd be like, it's 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, he's not done his homework for tomorrow. And I'm thinking, he's in fifth grade. That's fine. But Kostav's like, no, he will get up, and he would be in bed. He would make him get up, go finish his homework, and come back. See, that's beyond me. I couldn't do it. I would just be like, poor kid, he's sleeping. Let him sleep.
You
That's
know,
me.
I can see my future here. Like I'm so you and Siddhant is so Kaustuv. So
Yes,
I
you
can
need them though. You
yeah,
need
you
someone
need
to be.
them.
My kids would never go to school on time otherwise. If or like bedtime, he's very like he used to be. Now they're grown up. We don't watch their bedtime, but
Yeah.
like when they were younger, they just want to be playing or doing something. But if 9 o'clock is bedtime, then 9 o'clock is bedtime. And he makes sure they're in bed. I can't. I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, you can read one more story. Or like we can chat some more.
Mm.
Like I'm like this 10 minutes chatting is so much more fun than waking up in the morning in time for school. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, so that in that sense he's a lot more disciplined, but when he like say not anymore because they're so old, but when they were younger, they if they had a punishment, it would just break my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm like advocating for them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that we don't need to do this. But he'd sometimes say, he'd be like, Bakula, they're my kids too. Because, like, I'm feeling so bad and that I won't allow him to punish them or won't allow. I'd be like, no, no, don't do it. But yeah, so in that sense, the disciplining parts, and that's to do with like time and school only, honestly,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Kausa most cares about. And everything else is mine. Like, them being kind, them being honest, them being, whatever. Like, those are my things. And that is important to me.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere the two kind of like combine to make it okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the world at large today, right? People have forgotten to be kind.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
so
like,
true.
but the kids, like I see it, a lot of kids, right? Like we had one time gone on vacation and these kids were playing volleyball on the beach, and there were some younger kids that just happened to join. And it was like a random bunch of kids who were all at the same resort.
Mm.
But then I saw like all these older kids, they were so accommodating of the younger kids. They were making sure they play. That gives me hope. Like,
Yeah.
I see it and I'm like, this is so wonderful that, and hopefully they keep that going, right? Like, you don't want to get ahead at the expense of someone else.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things I want my children to actually learn and know, like in this race, because everything seems to be a race now.
Yeah.
Getting into a good college, getting a good job, staying in your good job, like it's a race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want them to forget these values in that race. That is most important for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that,
Beautiful.
yeah. So hopefully it's a job well done. We'll know
It
in a
is.
few years.
From what I can see and from what I can tell, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do think it is. At least it's in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, it is good if you are like, your weaknesses are your partner's strength in parenting.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, his weaknesses are my strengths.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's how I feel like they did get to be balanced in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least what you would like to call as balance. I mean, in
Yeah.
your
Like, I mean, can
eyes.
you
Yeah.
really? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
And also, life throws different things your way, right? Like, what? I mean, we only, and also, I feel sometimes as parents, right? Like, you take your childhood experiences, and either you want it to be like that for your kids, or you
Or
don't want that for your
yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
right? Like, for me, a lot of my indulgence comes from how my father raised me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always believed I had the whole world at my feet.
Mm.
Now that I think back, my dad was in a job. He wasn't like, it wasn't like we were wealthy, but I always felt like I could have anything I wanted.
Mm.
Like, that's how much he indulged me. And I feel like that's how I am indulgent to the kids.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, but I didn't want to like raise them. like, screaming, shouting. I didn't want a loud house for them
Yeah.
because that was one part I didn't really enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't. So I feel like a lot of our childhood experiences also play into how you parent your kids now.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And you have mentioned experiencing deep loss, both of your parents, and becoming a mother without a maternal anchor, so to say.
Yeah.
Uh, how has that been like? You talked about not having your mother around when you were mothering your own sons. That
Yeah.
is the kind of void that is even hard to imagine. So,
It is. And especially when your first one is born,
yeah.
like so wanted her so badly. It wasn't even my husband. Like, I just wanted someone, and really, like, it was then my Masi, like my mom's
Mm,
sister. I was so grateful. Like, even today, I'm so grateful.
mm.
She came for 10 days, and
Wow.
I needed that uncomplicated support.
Mm,
And I ended up staying in the hospital for those 10 days because I was so nervous to even go. And it
mm.
was also India, like you can stay as long as you want in the
Yeah,
hospital. Here
yeah.
they send you out in 2 days.
Mm,
But I stayed and she was there, and literally she was like, "How can I help you?" She wasn't there to tell me what to do.
mm.
And she comes from my village, and but she's well traveled, and she's like like she and my mother were very close, and I'm so grateful she felt that she needed to be there for her sister and for me, and that really helped. She was so nervous too. She's like, "Okay, this was 25 years ago for me." She's like,
Yeah,
"I have no idea what I'm doing." Right? Like
that's
she's
so
forgotten. She's
cute.
like, I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I've forgotten all this, but I'm going to do my best.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what is it that you need right now? So if I needed someone to hold the baby, if I needed, someone to just take him from me, or like, she was always just there.
yeah,
And if I needed a blanket, I needed, like, she was so attentive and she was so there. That is something I can never ever forget. And like a lot of people do that on their own too, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, if you absolutely don't have anybody, but the first few days are so nerve-wracking. Like,
yeah,
you don't know where you're going with this.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I think you underestimate the newness of that experience of having a baby,
yeah,
because any new thing thrown at you, you basically can, if you're a reasonably independent, you know, person, you can do it. Like, a new job, a new neighborhood, you move to a new country, you can deal with all of that. But having a new baby, that is an experience like nothing else.
yeah,
Like, and you're responsible for this life. Like, someone needs to stay alive because of you.
yeah,
Like, that is so scary. And you don't know if you did the right things.
yeah,
Like, when you're feeding them, when you're changing them, you don't want to like
yeah,
hurt them. Like, you're just so worried all the time.
yeah,
And it really did help to have that uncomplicated support.
yeah,
So if you do have it, I think you're really lucky. And I
mm,
was,
yeah.
that she came. And yeah, so I don't know what your question was.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay.
I was like, I don't know how I got there, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I really miss it though, honestly. I do see other babies now. Like a cousin recently had a baby, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so ready for another child or a grandchild. And Kostab was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? He's like, do you have amnesia? He's like, you don't remember how difficult it was? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think I don't know. I really enjoyed that process though. I did. I
Mm,
really enjoyed
mm.
being, and also when the two were born, right? Like, people would ask me, they would look at Veer and they'd be like, "Oh, how did you do this?" or "How did you do that?" And I uh, would dispense advice in my newly found role as a mother, as a good mother. Anybody asked me, I had so much advice to give. And only if they asked. I was always conscious of that. Like, I
Hmm.
didn't, yeah, but if somebody asked, I had something to say. And then Vikrant was born, and I realized I wasn't the good mother. Veer was the good baby. Because Vikrant had a mind of his own. Like, even today, I can tell him anything. He already knows how to do something. The other day, he had like some meeting with some, like a stranger, a politician, and I was like a little worried that. And so I told him, and he had set it up by himself. So I was a little worried. And I
Hmm.
was like, maybe I should talk to daddy, like about what to talk in the meeting. He just looked at me and said, I've come this far. I think I'm good. I was like, okay. So I stopped with the dispensing of the advice. I think the minute Vikrant was born, I was like, okay. Because you can parent all you want, but they're individual people with
Yeah.
personalities. Like Veer will not, like he'll do what he wants to do, but
Yeah.
he will listen to you. He will
Hmm.
allow you to say your piece.
Hmm.
Vikrant is more like really, why are you even telling me this? I know. Like I know more than you do. So I don't know. Like and that's the thing with personalities, like with kids, like that's the part I enjoy seeing them becoming their own people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the same house, you have the same parents, you have raised them the same, but they're entirely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know
And
how much of a role we actually play then.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But also, I want to talk about a little bit about your sickness. Also, you've said that you've been unwell in the recent years and doing everything that you can to stay healthy for your sons.
Yes.
Do you think illness has somehow approached how you look at life and parenting per se?
It leaves me with guilt. It leaves me with a lot of guilt. Like,
Guilt for what?
yeah, because a lot of the times I haven't been able, like, I remember in the afternoons whenever they came, and they were little, like, they were not, like, now is fine, but I was very sick at that point. Like 10 years ago, we would have been 10, Prant would have been 5. When they came back from school, I couldn't get off the bed. Like, it started with my thyroid. So there was literally no energy, or like I just couldn't pick myself from the bed.
Hmm.
So when they came, like I couldn't grab them, I couldn't do anything, like I couldn't do anything for them. And once Veer's teacher asked him, what would you want me to tell your mom? You can tell me anything or something like that. And I was like freaking out, like, what is he going to tell, right? And he said, I want her to sleep less and paint more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, they could tell even when they were younger. Or
Hmm.
like, I remember one night I couldn't even get to my meds. He was so little. He was like 10, and I couldn't reach Kaustubh once he sleeps is out. And he used to have really crazy schedules that then like 8 in the morning to midnight was his work day.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was out and I couldn't get to it. Veer gets me his medicine, pats me to bed. Like, yeah. And I mean, now when I tell him these things, he's like, no, I didn't do that." It's not cool.
Yeah, I'm not a fine young man. I'm a cool
Yeah. So,
boy.
yes. And Vikrant too, like even now, like they will do anything. Like when they know I'm sick, they will take care of me. But the sickness actually, it was my thyroid being depleted after childbirth.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't talk about it. Like
Yeah.
I wish somebody had, because apparently you do need, I don't know how much, like this is not medical advice to anybody, but
Mm.
apparently making sure your thyroids are good when you're pregnant and at levels higher than you need stops it from being depleted when the child is actually born.
Mm.
I was taking medication for 12 years, but the thing was, my body was not converting that medication, and nobody ever tested that. So,
Wow.
years, I was taking my thyroid medication with my body because the thyroid medication that you take is a T4, which is the inactive form, and your body needs to make T3, which is the
Hmm.
active form, for it to actually work. So I was taking T4 for 12 years with my body not making the T3.
Wow.
So at some point, my body ran out.
Wow.
I just couldn't function. There was nothing I could do. And I found out all this from my own studying, joining groups on Facebook where people had similar diseases. Then I found out that the thyroid test that they do only two tests, the TSH and something else, and they
Hmm.
just tell you you're fine. But you need to do the whole panel, the thyroid panel, where you do the free T3, free T4, reverse T3. So that's when you get a full picture of what your body is actually going through.
Wow.
And nobody had done that. I figured it out. And then I had the test. Then by then I had developed fibromyalgia. I had depression. It was all like piling on. Like once
Hmm.
you get one autoimmune disease, they just add on
Yeah.
and you get more. And then it was really hard because my depression was so bad. And then I was being medicated for that. But the sad part of it was nobody was treating the root cause, which was my thyroid.
Yeah.
So I had medication for my fibromyalgia, I had medication for my depression, but I did not have medication for what I actually needed. And then one day I remember hugging Vikrant and feeling nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Like that is the day I got so freaked out because I was like, I know for a fact that my children give me so much joy. And imagine hugging your child and feeling nothing.
Yeah.
Then I realized the depression medication, when it kills your depression, it also kills all other feelings.
Yeah.
So I had, like, literally, I was not feeling anything. I was like being a zombie.
Hmm.
And then I worked to get off of it. And then, like, now my thyroid is under much better control, but then now you're menopausal, and then you have other issues that are also playing a role. So, and being in a quieter place, like now we've moved to the suburbs, we don't live in New York anymore. I live in Pittsburgh, and it's very quiet, and people have been here for years. So, very few people who have come from other places. So,
Yeah.
making your friends is harder, like you're mostly on your own, it's cold, and the depression always comes back for me in the winter.
Yeah.
But I may, like now I'm more aware of it. So I try to combat it. Like, if I make a plan, I stick to my exercise. And, my mom was 47 when she passed.
Yeah.
So it's a very nerve-wracking thing for me that I'm about the same age now.
Mm-hmm.
And I and then I lost my father too, like, when I was in my early 40s.
Mm.
So I just feel like I want to be around for my kids. Like that's how I feel. Like, I don't think I felt strongly about it before I had kids. Like
Yeah.
I've needed parents at so many important points in my life.
Yeah.
Like how, like I brought these two into this world, and how can I not be there for them?
Yeah.
Especially after you've raised them in this loving family unit, you want to keep it for as long as you can, and you don't want to ruin it by your own. So I make sure I exercise 3 times a week, I walk every day, I watch my food. It's a lot of work just to be healthy, and I'm not sure I actually enjoy that part because sometimes, but then that's the card I've been dealt.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do make sure, and then I keep reminding Kaustubh too, because he is not as, he has both his parents, they're relatively healthy and they are much older, but they take good care of themselves.
Hmm.
And so he has never felt that.
Yeah.
So he looks at it differently than I do. Like for me, everything is a big deal because like, I'm like, no, no, you have to take care of health, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yeah.
But he's a little more lax, but I keep reminding him that. And also, now is your time, right? Now is my
Yeah.
time again with him. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do other things. I don't want us to be sick and each of us is looking after the other or something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
That's not how I want to spend my 60s or 70s. I
Yeah.
want us to be in relatively good health to do all the things that we had put on pause.
Yeah.
And travel is one of our big things. Now, of course, we travel with the kids too, and it's so much fun. Like traveling with two adult children is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Also, like Vikrant plans all our trips. And
Wow.
yeah, he's like last year we went to Amsterdam and he was like making reservations for restaurants. He was buying museum tickets. And I was thinking, why is this child planning so much? Like I'm more of a just show up and whatever happens, happens. But he takes into account what his brother enjoys doing, what I enjoy museums. And so there's always a mix of all the activities for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we went to Amsterdam in the summer, and I realized that, oh my God, you can't do anything if you didn't have a reservation.
Yeah.
It is so crowded. I just never realized because it's not like we go often or like, it was not in
Yeah.
my brain at all. And I was so glad for him having planned everything and bought all the tickets. But that's him, like, he just
Yeah.
and I enjoy that they do like, now they do a lot of the things you used to do for them.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it living with three boys in a house? How's it?
The worst is there is no conversation because
Mm-hmm.
Kaustubh doesn't talk much at all. So when they come back home, how was your day? Good. How was your day? Okay. How was your day? Great. Those are the three responses I get. I'm like, does anybody else? I sometimes have more news being at home and not having like gone out than the three of them have coming in. And then it's a sports household.
Mm.
Kaustubh always wanted kids to watch sports with him, and they're all sports obsessed. And all three of them golf. So I tried. I'm the most non-sporty person there is. I have like zero interest. But I bought a few clubs and I get into the car because this is like 3 hours of time with your kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss out on it. So I sit in the cart with them. They have fun driving the carts, but that's the time we have conversations. Like
Yeah.
because it is 3 hours. And now I just go with my sketchbook
Hmm.
because I don't enjoy golf. Like I go
Yeah.
just for, but yeah, there's a picture of me that's so funny because, and I get cold so easily. All three of them don't get cold. And when it was just me and Kaustubh in the house would be warm
Hmm.
because I would win that battle. But now it's three of them against me. So the house is always cold. Sometimes in the summer, I'm wearing a jacket in the house because the house is cold. Yeah, so with three boys, but I can't wait, for them to have partners because I'm like, maybe then I'll have some girls or in my life because it's like for me, I miss that conversation. Or like I see my friends with girls, right?
Yeah.
The girls call like 50 times a day, Mom, this happened. Like, what can I do? Like this, that. They so like I don't know if they're just so hyper independent or it's just my boys, but they
Yeah.
don't call me to ask like this, that, the other, unless it's something major.
Yeah.
Like, just take care of it. They don't have like emotional, because I don't know, they don't have. They generally don't talk about anything. And I want to know every little detail of their lives. That is one thing I'm trying to pedal back on.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, don't, like, I'm not going to get it. I might
Yeah.
as well.
Mm.
But I do
But
ask because one day I asked, I said, what did you do this weekend? I went to a party. I was like, oh, nice. What did you do at the party? The usual. I'm like, how do I know what's the usual of a 20-year-old in 2026 at a party? Like, I don't know what's the usual, but I'm not going to know. And then I started asking pointed questions when Vikrant would come back home. I'd be like, did anything interesting happen today? I'll be like, did you meet somebody new? I'm thinking
yeah.
that would give some answers. No, no. And so now when he walks into the house, he says, I didn't meet anybody and nothing interesting happened. So that's the end of the conversation. So yeah, that's the biggest difference I find by just having three boys who don't talk. I'm like, I have no conversation. Yeah.
Wow. I'm just, I'm just getting a lay of the land for me in the coming years. That's
It
why
is.
I'm asking you, very, very interested to know, okay, how's it living with three boys? Okay, what is it like living with this kind of a
I'm
partner?
sure there are boys who talk. Mine don't. Mine don't. Yeah. But I mean, I think also like, they are becoming your support now. Like as they're
Mm,
growing. Like
yeah.
we went on a trip to New York with Veer, his friend's mom, and it was just such an enjoyable experience.
Wow.
Although I tried to go to a club with them and they refused. They were like, "No, I'm not trying to go to a club with my mom. Sorry." I was like, "Wow, we are like cool moms." I was like, "We can go." No, both he and his friend didn't want to go with us. But Vikrant is a little more like, he's more my friend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he will discuss something with me, or both of them actually. When I paint, I value their opinion. They
Wow.
have an eye. They don't paint, but
Hmm.
they have an eye and they are critical, like, good criticism of
Hmm.
something that works or doesn't work. So I do get that exchange. Or
Wow.
like, yeah. And Vikrant is the fashionista in our house. So I will ask
Uh-huh.
him, I look or does this work? And he will have an opinion. We won't. He couldn't care about his own clothes, much less mine. But
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Vikrant is the one that does that for us around the house.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
is nice to,
Wow.
I can, and when people always told me, like when the kids were younger, enjoy this. And I always thought, enjoy what? Like this chaos, this, like, 50 things to do a day, and like I don't have time for myself. But I did not realize how cliched it is, but so true that
Mm-hmm.
time really passes so quick.
Yeah.
Now I want to enjoy that again. Like, I mean, obviously,
Oh.
but yeah, so you don't realize that it really does pass by quick. And when
Yeah.
people say enjoy it, I didn't quite, I think even in the chaos, right? To find a moment to just be like, oh, this is nice. Like
Yeah.
sleeping with your hugging, smelling that baby.
Yeah.
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 Now I wish I could have savored it for more, but time is time, right? It does
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
And when was the last time you felt overwhelmed as a parent, even at this stage, even this late, so to say, in this journey?
like overwhelmed. I don't know now. Like it's mostly mental, right? I always say like the mother's mental load is never ever recognized.
Hmm.
Like, your husband could take the child to his class or to the doctor, but whose job is it to keep that family calendar to remember tomorrow at 6 o'clock you need to take him? Or like, you need to buy a birthday present for his friend, then your husband might go buy it, but you're like, okay, go get this Lego set from there and bring it back. Like, whatever. Like
Yeah.
the mental load as a mother, I feel like is still not evenly shared.
Hmm.
Like as helpful as your partner is. I mean, um, because he's the planner, I have had that, but I'm just saying, like from experience, like what I see. Because one of my projects this year, I had done a residency with the Carnegie Libraries, and that's what it was. It was about mental load, and I had this chart, like who does the budget, who plans meals, who buys gifts. Overwhelmingly, like it was a sticker. So you had a red sticker for the mom, a blue sticker for the dad, and each question had to be stickered.
Hmm.
It was the mom. And I was like, that is the weight.
Hmm.
Constantly worrying about the kids, like, figuring it out. Like the figuring out part, I feel like still women are left to do with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just feel like maybe men or your partners, whoever. Because this is the other interesting thing. Same sex partners do not have that problem.
Yeah.
Chores are apparent, like from research that I've read, not that I know, but they divide it by strengths when it's
Mm.
same sex partners. This problem is in like a heterosexual relationship where, it's the mother's job to carry the mental load.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. That was something I had not thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you talk about it because I am in conversation with a guest, potential guest, who writes a comic about the mental load of mothers' work, the invisible
Oh,
labor.
interesting. Yes.
Yes.
That's what my project was called, The Invisible Labor of Women.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow. I would love to. Is it available, online or where?
no, I just posted a few things on my Instagram so that the chart that I was talking to you about the stickering, that's
Yes.
definitely there. And it
I'll
was at
link
a
it.
library. Yeah. So it was at the library and it was just regular folks walking into the library who answered those questions.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, my second last question to you, if you could go back and sit across the table from your pre parent self, what would you say to her?
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I think I would have told her she was pretty foolish to think that she didn't want to change her life.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's such a
yeah.
sweet thing. That's such a sweet
Because
thing.
because I do, like, we used to travel so much. We were both working. There was so much time, so much money. There was so much, like, with two people working and no responsibilities. We didn't have extended family responsibilities.
Yeah.
But even compared to all that, like what I have today, like it's just so much richer.
Oh.
Like, life is so much more meaningful because of my children.
Oh. I
Yeah, I
I
love
hope
having
and
that.
wish they listen to it and they know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope. And also just having that support, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they are my ride or die,
Yeah.
especially when I live here. Like, it's
Yeah.
my husband and children, and I
Hmm.
know they're there for me. So that I think, and I'm a very needy person to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, I just need a lot of like emotional support. I love it.
Yeah. You
I had a
need these
larger.
people who are there for you, you know?
I know. That's the good part. That's the good part.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did ask, I just want to mention this quickly because I did say, I always wonder, like how I thought, I don't want to be like this
Hmm.
because of my parents. I wonder sometimes what my kids are thinking. They don't want to be like me.
Yeah.
Their response was they didn't want to worry like I do.
Wow.
Yes, and I do worry because I think I also watch too many crime shows, which I shouldn't. But there are weird things that happen in this world. Even if
Yeah.
it's one in a million,
Yeah.
you don't want that one to be yours, right? Random crimes and like I don't know, like now that they
Stop
are,
watching those shows, Bakula.
yes, that's good advice. I have stopped now. I have because it worries me more and more.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the only thing they had.
Wow.
And the other day we were riding in the car, and I did ask them to tell something nice about each other because they were fighting. And then I continued that circle to include me and my husband. And the one word both of them came up with was selfless for me. And I was just like,
Is,
yeah. So it does.
also, is that nice?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I chose to give it up, right?
Hmm.
So it's not like, no, it's selfless in the sense like I won't share my mango with Veer. I'm not that selfless. We fight. Every time there is sweet blueberries and mango in the house, we fight. So when they say selfless, I know they're not meaning I'm all sacrificing. I can't tell you how much we fight over fruit because if it's the last fruit, me and him are fighting over it. But I think they do know I place their well being first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that is
Yeah.
important to
That is
me. And
that is important. That is
yeah,
important.
So, but it was just nice to notice
Yeah.
that they notice, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I was glad that was the okay, that was the only thing they think. They don't want to be like me.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
want to worry
Yeah.
like me, which would be
Also,
great.
very interested. What did they have to say about costume?
He's the rock for all of us. He's
You
also
you
our
said
rock,
that
and
too.
yeah, and he's also the wing beneath our wings, you know.
Ayo, how cute.
Sometimes I remind the kids, I'm like, it's four of us dreaming, one person working to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility, and he actually enjoys it and he thrives on it and he
Hmm.
wants to do it.
Hmm.
Like, just yesterday I was talking, like, I was talking to someone and I was thinking of doing a PhD or something, and he was like, you should do it. And I'm like, I always come up with idea, like, it's again like you're already putting through kids through college, and my PhD, I don't intend to teach or do research after that. I want to do it because I want to do it. Like, I want to know, like, about South Asian arts, and that's something that's been in my mind that I want to do. And but he doesn't think of all that. Like, he's like, if you want to do it, you should. I'm like, do you want to put a third child through college again? Yeah. So, yeah, he definitely is both our rock and our wings, really.
Wow. What a
Yeah.
what a beautiful, beautiful way to, summarize it,
Um,
I think. It's
thank you.
beautiful. Hmm. And finally, what's one insight, one belief, or one truth about parenthood that you want to leave our listeners with? Something that feels deeply yours.
I think to be honestly, unapologetically you,
Mm-hmm.
because you can only be the kind of parent you are. Like,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, not from, there are obviously things we can learn and we can all be different. But I'm saying if you are a certain kind of person, to fight that, to, like, because someone else is doing it or because you've seen your mother be that way, but if that's not you, you can't do a good job of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to remember that you are doing your best. And
Mm.
I don't like it at all when somebody is judging another mother, because I am like, you cannot love her child more than she does.
Yeah.
You have to believe in yourself to know that I love this child so much that I am doing the best I can, and be
Mm.
okay with that. I think a lot of us are ridden with mom's guilt never ends.
Yeah.
Like, even when I gave up the job, even when I was at home with them, I remember some nights I would put them to bed and think, oh, I should have played more with him today. I was too
Mm.
distracted.
Yeah.
Then I stopped myself. I was like, oh my God, like, you're already doing so much, but you still think you can do some more, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
to believe in yourself, to think that I know I am doing what I can, like
Mm.
my physical limitations, my mental limitations, whatever it is. And the children rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that all encompassing, like I can do like, imagine cooking at 10. Like,
Mm.
imagine, yeah, right? Like, my children just, it was not something even I taught them or told them. They just came up with it themselves. Like, I can see my mother sick, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So to just remember and do what you can and not have that mom guilt, I think that is so unnecessary and such a waste of mental bandwidth.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Bakula, thank you for taking us
Thank you,
through
Neha.
20 years of motherhood with such clarity, humor.
Thank
And
you.
I think you've shown us what it looks like to parent with intention, and devotion is one word that comes to my mind. And also what it looks like to grow through it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful, really. Like, it's almost like I had my own sort of, like, recollections, which was nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
listening.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you,
And
Neha.
thank you, Bakula. And to everyone
All right.
listening, thank you for
Yes.
being here with us. If this episode moved you or reminded you of your own story or made you feel just a little less alone, please share it with someone who might need that feeling today. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review so more parents can find their way to our growing parenthood community. I am Neha, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care. Bye bye.